Hello all, welcome back to Fox&Angel FoxVantage Business Byte series. Back to another quick chat, insightful discussion on land and expand journey of brands from the beauty and wellness segment. And to discuss that, we have none other than Sandeep Ahuja. Sandeep Ahuja, who has had an extensive career spanning across 30 years in FMCG, consumer, wellness, retail services across India, South Asia, Southeast Asia, GCC region, and East Africa. Welcome, Sandeep. Welcome to Fox and Angel, Fox Vantage Business Byte series, and welcome to Fox and Angel Global Panel of Business Leaders and Domain Experts.
Thanks, Rajan. Thank you very much indeed for having me here. I'm actually quite excited to be part of Fox and Angel's global panel. I'm actually quite impressed with what you have created as a smart disruption, improving quality of consulting and implementation of the global expansion in brands and businesses. I look forward to doing some great work together.
Thanks, Sandeep. Thank you so much for being part of Fox and Angel Global Panel, and we are in this journey together. We're going to handhold international brands to their journey in India, expand and grow. So, Sandeep, how big is the Indian market, and is it directly proportional to the population that we're talking about, the Indian population, which is world's largest today, or there is some other math that is working?
Well, the beauty and wellness sector in India is one of the fastest growing segments in the Indian market across industries. And that's therefore a very exciting time for us as constituents of this industry. And the reason that it's growing at the pace that it is, it's estimated to be growing at about 15% CAGR for the last 5 years. That's because it's thriving on an increasing section of, affluent and middle class population. Combined with changing sort of consumer psyche towards beauty and wellness, especially in the context of what we went through in the COVID times, and therefore beauty of a kind and wellness of a kind has become a very important aspect of say, let's say, the daily routine of most consumers. And yes, this also been combined with the penetration of the organized retail in the country. And that's also driving consumption per se. Within the beauty and wellness industry, broadly speaking, if we can split it up as segments, there is the product side of it and there is the services side of it. And both these are fairly fast growing segments. Now, within the products business, you have sub-segments, of course, like the classical sub-segments like, skin care, hair care, body care, sun care, bath and body, color cosmetics and fragrances and stuff like that. But, within these sub-segments of the beauty products business, there are pockets that are growing faster than the others. And that's also in the context of what I referred to earlier was changing consumer behavior. So, for example, one of the fast-growing, although a small segment, is sun care, and that's become very important as a consumer choice these days. On the services side, if you look at the beauty and wellness industry, you can split the segments into things like salon services, aesthetic dermatology, weight management and wellness and fitness and spas, as well as alternative therapies and treatments. And again, in the context of changing consumer behavior, one of the faster growing segments in this area is nutritional products or better for you kind of products, and that's also in the context of what we experienced in the COVID years. But overall, yes, the industry as such is growing at a fairly hectic pace, and there are really exciting times that we can look forward to in the next few years.
That's an easy way to understand size and categories of beauty and wellness market in India. What are the numbers, the big numbers you see in the coming time? What are those key growth areas that you see for these beauty and wellness brands in India?
Yeah, the revenue of the beauty and wellness industry in India in 2020 stood at about 24 to 25 billion US dollars. and it's projected to nearly double to about 40 to 42 billion dollars by 2025, which is just 2.5 years from now. And sitting here in the third quarter, or as we step into the final quarter of this calendar year, I can say with confidence that that prediction is on track to be achieved. And this is all notwithstanding, the economic disruptions and that we had as a result of COVID. And in this scenario and in the context of the growth drivers that I briefly mentioned earlier in terms of affluent middle class and so on, for global brands, India is an opportunity that frankly they would be ill-advised to ignore going forward. And there is enough precedent set in the last few years or several years that India is a profitable and a viable market for companies, global companies in this sector. And to give you an example, I was reading somewhere that just a couple of weeks ago that companies like Unilever or Nestle or 3M that have been here for a while now, their performance in India has outstripped their parent company's performance. And that sort of gives you some indication of where we're going with the market in India.
Going further, do you see this diversity of Indian market going to play a role in land and expand journey of these beauty and wellness brands in India? And what impact this diversity may have on marketing of these brands?
Yeah, absolutely. India's cultural diversity is certainly a challenge, but as the cliche goes, it's also a great opportunity. It's crucial to begin for global brands to familiarize themselves with India. That they have to first understand that India, unlike other countries, is quite unique. And frankly, there are few parallels globally that they can go with and say that will work well in India too. So there is an element of localization that is required, and there is the famous case of McDonald's having brought in the Makalu burger, which is the potato burger, to cater to the Indian vegetarian palate. So there is a level of localization that certainly is required, but that's to be expected in any country where there is huge cultural diversity, or any large country where there is huge cultural diversity, coupled with a huge population that is spread across the length and breadth of this country. So while unique flavors and traditions exist locally, but also on a pan-India basis, it is easy to penetrate the market with key products that you would have in your portfolio globally, but run in also with some level of localization to ensure trial that happens. Ranjan, one more thing on the localization aspect. I'm actually also curious to know your views on how in the background of cultural diversity you think these brands can maintain a unified brand identity. One is the kind of products, and the other is the brand identity that is in keeping with possibly their global standards.
Excellent, Sandeep. You have turned the table around and put the question back on me. For marketing, I guess they should have universal messaging for the entire market, entire country. However, leaving enough space and scope for regional customization so that they stay relevant and have enough appeal to connect with these segments and the categories in each of these regions. Uh, Leveraging digital advancement in India, how do you see these beauty and wellness brand can leverage or benefit from the advancements that we have, the digital space that we are strong in, how this whole journey maps out?
Yes, they have certainly transformed the beauty and wellness category landscape in India, no question about it, in the last few years. I mean, social media today is where most brands are spending their sort of advertising money on. Print media as a spend is declining. So is television. But so brands can use social media to showcase transformation, tutorials, engage with customers directly. I mean, that's the kind of flexibility the social media platform allows, unlike the other communication channels. You know, but also, you know, at the retail floor or shop floor level, as also on the digital platform level, you know, technology is playing now an increasingly interesting and important role. Things like, you know, augmented reality, virtual try-ons are becoming quite popular, and they allow the customers to experiment and, you know, get a touchy-feely idea of the product before they actually make the purchase decision. Um, so in a manner of speaking, you know, um, e-commerce is not just transactional platform, it's also a platform for engagement today. And by offering value beyond the product, brands can foster deeper connection with consumers. And in the Indian context specifically, you have to understand that this kind of engagement is achieving an unprecedented level of penetration in comparison to possibly other countries globally, because of, and we can possibly talk about that later, because of the level of penetration of the digital medium and mobile phone in India. And that's a powerful tool for marketers today. From paucity of landlines to a surfeit of mobile phones with virtually 100% penetration. And that's such a fabulous thing that is happening from the perspective of companies who want to reach out to consumers in India. And the penetration of mobile phones, high as it is, the interesting aspect also is that within that penetration, smartphones that enable, you know, social media and consumer engagement, smartphones are virtually over 50%.
Very insightful, Sandeep. Very insightful. In fact, mention of these digital platform brings me to another topic, which is of pricing. How do you see these brands, the brands of beauty and wellness, can be more focused towards their pricing strategies in various regions and markets for the different segments that they are catering to?
Indeed, pricing is a sensitive matter. You know, brands can consider introducing product lines with tiered pricing, entry level products that cater to the budget conscious consumers, and premium ones for those seeking luxury experiences. Simultaneously, their marketing has to effectively communicate the value and benefits of premium offerings without alienating the price sensitive segments of the market. But having said that, I don't think it's so much of a concern, you know, pricing specifically, because there is enough precedent set now with global brands having come to India and having decided a pricing that's ensured that they have a continued success in the marketplace.
So, to keep the price in check, do you think manufacturing in India of these top line beauty and wellness products is possible? And if it is so, then do you suggest these brands to manufacture in India to save on the custom duties?
So, you know, what we need to appreciate is that the large scale development of digital as well as manufacturing sectors has resulted in the booming demand for beauty and wellness products, as well as services in India. You know, and I alluded to that earlier. And this demand is no longer restricted to urban centers, but is equally strong in rural areas. Um, um, and you know, the consistent double-digit growth that we've experienced within the beauty and wellness sector in the last at least 5 years could not have been possible had there not been a fully developed supporting ecosystem that, you know, kept pace with this growth. You know, from packaging material to let's say manufacturing facilities to consumables, active ingredients that are used in you know, complex formulations, to supply chain, to distribution. You know, there has been a tremendous evolution both in terms of quality and variety. Variety in terms of, you know, price points that are available. So today you're able to manufacture products catering to all pricing segments. Um, And what's also interesting is that not only all global brands like Unilever or L'Oreal or P&G and the like are selling their brands in India, they're also manufacturing them in India, either through captive facilities or through third party manufacturing. And that's an interesting development that has taken place in the last few years. In fact, there are some global companies that are manufacturing brands exclusively in India for distribution in global markets. Unilever's Glow and Lovely is an example of that. And to my mind, apart from the ecosystem itself that caters to all price points and qualities that you want to make your product in or at, in today's scenario, it makes more economic sense for global FMCG companies to cater to the Indian market through domestic sourcing rather than imports, given that, like I said, end-to-end manufacturing base in India is now extremely well established. Furthermore, it even makes greater logical sense to do this because of trade barriers related to import of duties or product registrations and so on. It just doesn't make sense to really import. And if you go to the marketplace today and see most foreign brands, so to say, are largely manufactured in India.
Very valid point, Sandeep. Very valid point. In fact, transparent storytelling is key, and for premium product category, customers should be able to see the benefit, the long-term benefit that they can draw, the emotional quotient that it brings in as more than an investment than an expense.
India's current merchandise or retail market stands at about 900 billion today. I'm talking about across FMCG, and it's likely to touch and possibly even exceed 1.3 or 1,300 billion by 2025. Now, so that's an exciting opportunity available for global brands. One. Now, the counter argument that I hear is that, where is the market given the fact that per capita income is still relatively low in comparison to other countries? But that's got to be low given the size of the market or size of the population, which is 1.4 billion. Now, what you have to most importantly look at in absolute terms, consumer spending is now increasing across key product categories beyond just consumables for daily needs. This includes personal care, it includes consumer durables, includes electronics, furniture, home decor, health and wellness, equally importantly. So the India consumption story is very much alive and likely to stay healthy for some years to come. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier, about you recall the telecom revolution that we had. India is in a hurry to catch up and possibly go beyond. From low penetration of landlines to mobile phone penetration nearly being 100%. So we are in a hurry to catch up, and therefore global brands can ride on that wave. And in that context of mobile phones, look at how we consume data. From about if I remember the figures correctly, from an average of about 15 to 16 GB per month per capita to now by 2025 expecting to go to 25 GB per month average consumption of data. And so that gives you some idea of how great the market is and how cost-effective penetration of that market could be for serious marketeers.
This was quite valuable, Sandeep. Thank you so much for your time and insight, Sandeep, for brands who are looking to land and expand in India in beauty and wellness segment.